In the summer of 2024, Florida's sunny coastline was disrupted by something no one expected. Beaches known for soft sand and warm waves were suddenly cordoned off with yellow tape. Authorities moved quickly, but said little. Signs warned swimmers to stay out of the water. Locals whispered theories. Some blamed chemical spills, others spoke of toxic jellyfish. But what actually appeared on the shore was far stranger. Small, jet-black spheres. They were scattered across the beach, sticky to the touch and strangely uniform in shape. No one knew where they came from. Were they industrial waste? Alien in origin? The Coast Guard investigated. Labs ran tests. Tourists were turned away. Eventually, the answer seemed simple: tar balls. Bits of hardened resin. But even then, one question remained unanswered. How did they get here? And why now? On some of Florida's most popular and carefully monitored beaches. In this video, we uncover the unsettling truth behind the appearance of these strange objects and reveal the dangers waiting for anyone who dares to call Florida home. But before we start, here's a little question to entertain you. What is Central Florida's nickname due to its frequent sinkholes? A. The Crater Zone. B. Sinkhole Alley. C. Fault Line Coast. D. Florida's Deep Belt. Share your opinion in the comments and patiently watch this video till the end to find out the truth. Number 10. Seffner Sinkhole. Florida is filled with natural wonders, but it also hides sudden and terrifying risks. One of the most shocking examples appeared in the quiet town of Seffner, near Tampa, on the night of February 28, 2013. The ground beneath a home opened without warning. The collapse happened beneath a bedroom. A man named Jeff Bush was sleeping when the floor suddenly vanished. His brother tried to save him, but the hole had already swallowed everything. Emergency crews arrived within minutes. The structure was unstable and continued to shift. Rescue efforts were called off, and no body was ever recovered. The hole extended more than 20 feet deep and over 30 feet wide. It was later filled with gravel and concrete, but the memory stayed. For the first time in years, the rest of the country turned its attention to Florida's underground terrain. Seffner sits in the center of Hillsborough County, one of several areas in central Florida built over limestone bedrock. This rock dissolves over time when exposed to acidic groundwater. As pockets form below the surface, they eventually collapse. The Seffner sinkhole was not the first in the area, but it was the most deadly. What made it worse was how ordinary it seemed. A home in a typical neighborhood. No warning signs, no rain. Just silence, followed by disaster. In the days after the collapse, media across the nation began using a new phrase. Reporters called this part of Florida Sinkhole Alley. The term quickly caught on. It described a stretch of counties including Pasco, Hernando, Polk, and Hillsborough. These counties have more documented sinkholes than almost anywhere else in the country. Insurance companies took notice. Homeowners began asking hard questions. Local officials launched new surveys and geological studies. The phrase Sinkhole Alley is now part of how the region is described. It has even shown up in tourism headlines and real estate disclosures. Florida remains one of the most desirable places to live in the United States, but Seffner reminded everyone that beauty often hides risk. The ground may look stable, but what lies beneath is still shifting. The forces that created the Seffner sinkhole are still active today. More than 10 years later, the lot where the home once stood remains empty. Grass has grown over it, but no one builds there. For many locals, the memory is still fresh. The event changed how people view the ground beneath their feet. Seffner became more than just a name. It became a warning. Have you ever seen signs of ground movement near your home? Do you think Florida is doing enough to monitor sinkhole activity? Tell us in the comments. We would love to hear your thoughts. Number 9. Lakeland Sinkhole. In the heart of Central Florida lies Lakeland, a city named for its more than 30 natural lakes. It offers beautiful neighborhoods and parks, but the same water that gives Lakeland its name also brings risk. In recent years, the city has faced growing concern over one unpredictable threat: sinkholes. In 2024, a massive sinkhole opened beneath a residential area in Lakeland. It formed suddenly, after weeks of heavy rain and seasonal storms. 2 homes were damaged, and several others were evacuated. The hole appeared without warning. What began as a soft depression in the yard quickly expanded, swallowing parts of buildings and tearing into driveways. It was deep, wide, and unstable. Local officials blocked off the area, unsure whether more collapses might follow. Lakeland sits in Polk County, which is part of Florida's central karst region. The land beneath is made of porous limestone that dissolves slowly over time. As underground cavities grow, the surface becomes fragile. Heavy rainfall can cause the ground to give way without notice. The 2024 sinkhole was not the first in the area. Similar events have occurred near schools, highways, and shopping centers. Each time, the impact is sudden and costly. Residents in Lakeland are becoming more aware of the threat. Insurance rates have risen. Geological surveys are more common. Engineers now test soil stability before construction. Still, many older homes were built before modern standards. Some rest directly over hidden voids. The city continues to grow, but with growth comes more pressure on an already sensitive landscape. The Lakeland sinkhole is not an isolated event. It is part of a larger pattern spreading across central Florida. The region known informally as Sinkhole Alley includes Polk County along with neighboring Hillsborough, Hernando, and Pasco counties. Together, they report more sinkhole activity than any other part of the country. And as climate patterns shift, conditions are expected to become even more favorable for future collapses. Florida remains one of the most desirable places to live, thanks to its beauty and climate. But residents must now live with a new kind of uncertainty. Sinkholes do not follow a schedule. They do not issue warnings. One moment the ground is firm, the next, it disappears. Lakeland is taking the threat seriously, but nature always moves at its own pace. Have you ever seen ground begin to crack or sink near your home? Do you think enough is being done to detect early signs of collapse? Share your story in the comments. We want to hear what you think. Number 8. Eagle's Nest. In the middle of the Florida wilderness lies one of the most dangerous places a diver can enter. Hidden inside the Chassahowitzka Wildlife Management Area in Hernando County, Eagle's Nest Sinkhole is a vertical underwater cave system unlike anything else in the state. Surrounded by peaceful forest and accessible only by rough trails, it looks like an ordinary pond. But beneath its calm surface is a dark descent into one of the deepest freshwater cave networks in the United States. At first glance, Eagle's Nest seems unremarkable. The surface pool is just a few dozen feet wide, but once divers enter, they follow a vertical shaft that quickly drops more than 300 feet. From there, horizontal tunnels stretch out in several directions, some large enough to swim through comfortably, others tight and filled with silt. In total, the known passages run for more than 2 miles. Most of them are pitch black, narrow, and filled with risks. Eagle's Nest is often compared to Mount Everest. It attracts expert divers from around the world, drawn by the challenge and the mystery. But it has also earned a reputation for tragedy. Multiple divers have died inside Eagle's Nest, including some with years of cave experience. In 2012, 2 young divers entered the system but never resurfaced. Recovery teams later found their bodies more than 250 feet deep in one of the main passageways. The area is so complex that one diver's gear was found far from his body, suggesting disorientation. Florida is a state shaped by water. Below the surface lies a fragile network of caverns, sinkholes, and springs. Eagle's Nest is part of that system. It is a natural formation carved by groundwater over thousands of years. As the limestone eroded, hollow spaces formed and collapsed. The result is a system that continues to grow and shift today. These hidden caves are beautiful, but they are also unpredictable. Despite the dangers, Eagle's Nest remains legal to dive for those with proper certification. It is also a geological indicator. Similar formations exist across the region, many undiscovered or only partially mapped. As development moves closer to protected lands, the threat to people and property increases. A collapse or unexpected opening could occur in places no one expects. Florida's surface remains calm, but what lies beneath is constantly evolving. Have you ever heard of Eagle's Nest or visited a Florida sinkhole? Do you think caves like this should be more restricted or more studied? Share your opinion in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts. Number 7. Devil's Den. Hidden in the quiet town of Williston, Florida, lies one of the state's most surreal natural wonders. Devil's Den is a prehistoric spring located inside a collapsed cave. From the surface, it looks like an opening in the rock, but step inside and you enter a different world. Clear blue water fills the underground chamber, lit from above by a single shaft of daylight. Divers from around the world visit the site to swim through its submerged rock formations and ancient tunnels. The water stays at a constant 72 degrees year-round. The walls of the chamber reveal layers of fossilized marine life, some over 30 million years old. Archaeologists have discovered bones from early humans and extinct animals inside the cave system. The spring gets its name came from the steam that rises from the entrance on cool mornings. Locals once believed it led to something otherworldly. Today, it draws tourists, divers, and scientists seeking a glimpse into Florida's distant past. But beneath the beauty lies a reminder of how fragile Florida's terrain really is. Devil's Den was formed by a natural collapse. Underground water slowly dissolved the surrounding limestone, creating a hidden cavity. When the ceiling became too thin to support itself, it fell in. What remained was a vertical sinkhole filled with water, exposed to the surface and surrounded by fractured rock. The process that formed it is still active across much of Florida today. Florida's geology is shaped by what cannot be seen. Beneath the ground lies a vast network of underground springs, caves, and unstable cavities. Devil's Den is one of the rare sites that became visible, but others may still be hidden. As rainfall increases and development spreads, these unseen voids pose growing risks. A sudden collapse can damage roads, homes, or entire neighborhoods. Most of Florida's sinkholes form in silence without warning. Devil's Den simply shows what happens when one becomes impossible to ignore. In recent years, more attention has turned to Florida's underground systems. New mapping tools and sonar scans are helping identify weak zones before they fail. But no system is perfect, and not every location is accessible. Sites like Devil's Den help scientists understand how deep the problem goes. It also serves as a reminder that even the most stable land can shift without notice. Florida remains one of the most beautiful and diverse states in the country. Springs like Devil's Den are part of what makes it so special. They offer rare access to ancient geology and crystal-clear water, but they also reveal how unstable the surface can be. What looks like solid ground may be a ceiling waiting to fall. The beauty of Florida is real, but so is the risk beneath it. Have you ever visited a spring or cave in Florida? Do you think enough is being done to monitor underground threats? Let us know in the comments. We would love to hear what you think. Number 6. Devil's Millhopper. Florida dazzles with its beaches and sunsets, but hidden beneath its beauty is a dangerous secret. In Gainesville, surrounded by dense pine forest, lies a vast geological formation known as Devil's Millhopper. At 120 feet deep and more than 500 feet wide, this enormous sinkhole reveals a dark side to Florida's natural landscape. While today it's part of a peaceful state park, its origins and structure represent an active threat that reaches far beyond its walls. Discovered by early settlers in the 1800s, the Millhopper caught the attention of scientists by the early 1880s. In 1974, it was designated a National Natural Landmark. Visitors walk down a long wooden staircase into its depths, observing layers of exposed limestone, fossil shells, and marine sediment. These layers tell the story of ancient oceans, slow erosion, and sudden collapse. But the most important story is what it warns us about the rest of the state. Devil's Millhopper is not an isolated formation. It is a classic example of what happens when water eats away at Florida's limestone foundation. As acidic rainwater seeps into the ground, it slowly dissolves the rock, creating hollow chambers beneath the surface. Eventually, the ground above gives way. That is exactly what happened here. And it can happen again, anywhere in Florida. The real danger is that the same forces that created Devil's Millhopper are still active across the state. Underground erosion continues daily. Entire neighborhoods can rest on what seems like solid ground until it collapses. The Millhopper may be safely fenced and studied, but it is a physical reminder of Florida's vulnerability to sinkhole disasters. Over the last decade, development in Central Florida has accelerated. More buildings, more roads, more water usage. All of it puts pressure on a landform that is already unstable. Scientists warn that heavier rainfall and climate changes could increase the frequency of sinkholes. What looks like a tourist stop today may be a warning for tomorrow. Florida is a place of wonder, from the Keys to the Panhandle. But beneath that beauty, the ground holds secrets. Devil's Millhopper exposes them, layer by layer. Its steep sides and shadowy depths are more than a geological curiosity. They are a sign of what could unfold in other communities without warning. Before we dive deeper into this explosive story, please take a moment to hit that like button. It's a small action, but it helps YouTube's algorithm promote our videos to a wider audience. Number 5. Underwater Ruins. Florida is home to many ancient mysteries, but few are as haunting as the ones found at Crystal River Archaeological State Park. Located on the Gulf Coast, this quiet park preserves the remains of a Native American ceremonial site that was active for over 1,000 years. From roughly 200 BC to 1000 AD, This place was a center for ritual, trade, and burial. The site contains temple mounds, a plaza area, and several large shell middens. Thousands of people once visited here, leaving behind artifacts, bones, and unanswered questions. The most striking feature of Crystal River is not what you see on land. It is what may still lie beneath the water. Along the edge of the park, near the Crystal River itself, divers have long reported submerged stone formations. Some appear to be stacked deliberately. Others form straight lines or right angles that look out of place in a natural riverbed. These underwater shapes have sparked debate among archaeologists and theorists alike. Were they docks, platforms, or parts of a larger ceremonial structure lost to time? Florida's warm, shallow waters are known for preserving ancient artifacts. In other parts of the state, entire canoes and burial sites have been found underwater. At Crystal River, tidal flows and marshy terrain make exploration difficult. Visibility is low, and sediment moves often. But the possibilities are real. If part of the site extended into the water, it may still be hidden beneath the silt. The threat here is not just what may be lost, but what may be shifting due to erosion, rising seas, and human development. As sea levels rise and storms grow more intense, Florida's coastal heritage sites are under constant threat. Even places protected by the state, like Crystal River, face silent pressure from below. Heavy rains, groundwater changes, and saltwater intrusion all affect the fragile foundations of these ancient earthworks. One strong storm could shift the soil enough to uncover something we are not ready for, or bury it forever. Crystal River is a peaceful place today, with walking trails, tall palms, and sweeping river views. But beneath that calm surface is a timeline we barely understand. It connects Florida's past to its present in a fragile, eroding chain. The mystery of what lies underwater remains. Scientists continue to investigate, but nature may move faster than research can keep up. Our team needs your help. Subscribe to our channel to help more people learn the truth about current events. And now, we move on. Number 4. Deep Gators Holl. Florida's natural beauty stretches far beyond its beaches. In the southwest region of the state lies Millhopper River State Park, one of Florida's oldest and largest protected areas. Spanning more than 58 square miles, the park offers a glimpse into wild, untouched Florida. With its vast wetlands, palm hammocks, and riverways, it is a sanctuary for wildlife and a favorite spot for those seeking a true connection with nature. But hidden deep within this park is something far more mysterious, a perfectly round dark sinkhole known only as the Deep Hole. The Deep Hole is located near the edge of the Millhopper River in an area closed to vehicles. To reach it, visitors must hike over 2 miles along a rugged trail. There are no fences, no guardrails, and no signs explaining what it is. Just a clearing, a still pool of black water, and something else. Dozens, sometimes hundreds, of alligators. On dry days, they line the shoreline like statues. On humid days, they slide silently into the water. What draws them here is not fully understood. But one thing is certain: the Deep Hole is no ordinary pond. The sinkhole measures about 130 feet across and is more than 130 feet deep. That is unusually large for a formation in this region. The surrounding water is shallow, but here it plunges straight down. Scientists have studied the area, but even sonar scans struggle to map the full depth. Layers of silt and debris block the view. No one knows exactly how old the Deep Hole is, or what lies at the bottom. It is part of a karst landscape formed by dissolving limestone, the same geological structure responsible for Florida's many sinkholes. What makes the Deep Hole even more unusual is the behavior of the alligators. Experts believe that during the dry season, when water levels drop across the park, the Deep Hole retains water better than the surrounding wetlands. That makes it a refuge. Fish and other prey become trapped in the shrinking pool, and the gators follow. This congregation can happen several times a year, particularly in winter and early spring, when drought conditions are more likely. But the exact number of gators changes, and some years bring larger gatherings than others. While the alligators may be following food, warmth, or some ancient instinct, the presence of so many in one place raises questions. What if other forces are at work? The Deep Hole is not just a curiosity. It reflects the hidden dangers of Florida's terrain, a reminder that beneath the beauty of this state lies a delicate, unstable foundation. If a cavity of this size exists undetected for centuries, how many others remain hidden beneath our feet? Florida is a state built on limestone. Water flows beneath the surface like invisible rivers, slowly wearing away the rock. When it collapses, it can do so without warning. The deep hole is a natural wonder, but it is also a symbol, a silent, motionless circle that holds more questions than answers. Want to help us grow? Share our new video on X. Every share counts. Number 3. Hidden Discovery. In late 2022, something strange emerged from the sand in Daytona Beach shores. After Hurricanes Ian and Nicole struck Florida, coastal erosion cut deep into the shoreline. At first, it looked like large pieces of driftwood, half buried and darkened by the sea. But they were too long, too straight, and placed too precisely. Within hours, more of the structure began to appear. It stretched across the beach like the skeleton of something ancient. Tourists and locals were the first to see it. Some thought it was a military barrier pushed ashore by the storm. Others suggested it was part of a crashed aircraft or even a secret Cold War project. Photos spread quickly online. Theories ranged from underwater alien wreckage to a forgotten pirate trap. Authorities arrived and sealed off the area, citing safety and unstable terrain. Divers and archaeologists were called in to examine the site. Their first impression: this was no modern wreck. The beams were fastened with hand-forged iron. Barnacles clung to joints built with a style not used in decades. Sand had preserved the structure so well that parts of it looked almost untouched by time. But no nameplate, cargo, or anchor was found. Only wood, rust, and mystery. Florida's coastline has a long and dangerous history. For centuries, ships moved goods along the Atlantic corridor, carrying lumber, rum, cotton, and salt. But violent storms, shallow reefs, and piracy turned those voyages into deadly risks. Between the 1600s and 1800s, hundreds of vessels were lost off Florida's shores. Some were merchant ships, others less official. Hidden coves and barrier islands offered perfect cover for smugglers and pirates. Few of their wrecks were ever recovered. The wreck on Daytona Beach had the size and materials typical of a 19th century cargo vessel. Experts analyzed construction techniques, metal composition, and erosion patterns. Their conclusion was clear. This was likely a merchant ship that ran aground during a storm more than 150 years ago. The sea buried it quickly, and nature kept it hidden. Only a perfect combination of weather and erosion brought it back into view. The structure remained visible for only a few days. As tides returned and winds shifted, the sand slowly reclaimed it. Today, most of it is buried again, just inches below the surface. But the questions it raised have not gone away. What other relics sleep beneath Florida's shoreline? And what will be revealed when the next storm strikes? Have you ever seen something strange appear after a storm? Do you think more forgotten ships are buried beneath Florida's beaches? Let us know in the comments. We would love to hear your thoughts. Number 2. Panhandle Shipwreck Trail. Florida's Panhandle is known for white sand beaches, emerald waters, and peaceful coastal towns. But beneath that beauty lies a network of forgotten vessels, each resting on the seafloor with its own story. The Panhandle Shipwreck Trail is a collection of 12 sunken ships off the coast, stretching from Pensacola to Port St. Joe. These wrecks form a dive trail unlike any other in the United States. They attract both experienced divers and marine researchers. But behind the calm surface lies a reminder of how unpredictable the sea around Florida truly is. The idea for the trail was developed in the early 2000s by a coalition of local tourism boards, dive operators, and marine scientists. Their goal was to boost ecotourism while protecting the region's submerged heritage. Many of the shipwrecks had already been discovered during sonar mapping and military surveys. Others were known only to local fishermen and divers. The official trail was launched in 2012 with support from Visit Florida and state conservation programs. Some of the ships were intentionally sunk to create artificial reefs. Others were victims of war, weather, or miscalculation. Together, they now support marine life and offer divers a rare chance to explore underwater history. Each wreck is unique. Some lie in shallow water. Others sit much deeper, requiring special equipment. The variety makes the trail both fascinating and dangerous, depending on conditions and experience level. One of the most famous ships along the trail is the USS Oriskany. This massive aircraft carrier was deliberately sunk in 2006 off the coast of Pensacola. It is now one of the largest artificial reefs in the world. But not all ships were placed so deliberately. The San Pablo, nicknamed the Cocaine Wreck, exploded under mysterious conditions in 1944. While its purpose and cargo are debated, the wreck now rests in the Gulf of Mexico, covered in coral and speculation. Florida has always lived close to the edge of the sea's power. Its ports were critical during wartime. Its coastal trade routes were busy and often poorly charted. Hurricanes, navigation errors, and sabotage have left wreckage scattered across the Panhandle's waters. Many of these vessels are still being studied, and some have never been fully identified. As sea levels rise and storms grow stronger, erosion may shift sand layers and expose even more hidden wrecks. The Shipwreck Trail is beautiful and thrilling, but it is also a warning. Each ship once floated with purpose. Now they rest in silence, evidence of how quickly control can be lost at sea. The waters around Florida are stunning, but never fully safe. Shifting currents, tropical systems, and aging hulls all play a role in keeping the trail alive and expanding. Even today, new additions are considered when aging vessels reach the end of their service. Have you ever explored a shipwreck or dived along the Panhandle coast? Do you think more forgotten vessels will be found as the coastline shifts? Tell us in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts. Now it's time to find out the correct answer to the quiz. What is Central Florida's nickname due to its frequent sinkholes? A. The Crater Zone. B. Sinkhole Alley. C. Fault Line Coast. D. Florida's Deep Belt. The correct answer is B. Sinkhole Alley. Number 1. Sinkhole Alley. Imagine waking up to the earth vanishing beneath your feet. One moment your backyard is a stretch of green grass. The next, it is a gaping hole swallowing trees, roads, and sometimes entire homes. This is not a scene from a disaster movie. It is the unsettling reality for many Floridians. In this state, sinkholes are not rare surprises. They are a constant, silent threat. So frequent, in fact, that part of Central Florida has earned a chilling nickname, Sinkhole Alley. Sinkhole Alley refers to a region stretching through Pasco, Hernando, Hillsborough, and Polk counties. These areas experience the highest concentration of sinkhole activity in Florida. It is not a technical term, but one widely used by insurance agents, geologists, and residents. The reason lies below the surface. Florida rests on a base of limestone, a porous rock that easily dissolves in slightly acidic rainwater. Over time, water carves tunnels and caverns through the stone, creating hollow voids that sit just beneath the ground. At first, these voids go unnoticed, but as the spaces grow, the weight of soil, buildings, and roads above becomes too much. The surface suddenly gives way, collapsing into the empty space below. Sometimes the sinkhole is only a few feet across. Other times, it swallows entire structures in seconds. One of the most tragic cases occurred in Seffner in 2013, when a man died after a sinkhole opened beneath his bedroom. Events like this are rare, but they leave a lasting impact on the communities they affect. There are 3 main types of sinkholes in Florida. Some form slowly, with ground settling in small depressions over time. Others appear with no warning. The most dangerous are cover-collapse sinkholes, which erupt when soil suddenly drops into an open cavity. These are the ones most likely to cause major property damage or loss of life. And in Sinkhole Alley, all 3 types have been recorded frequently. As Florida's population continues to grow, so does the pressure on its vulnerable ground. More development, increased water use, and extreme weather patterns have accelerated sinkhole formation. Periods of drought lower the water table, weakening underground support. Heavy rains that follow quickly flood weakened areas. The result is a landscape under stress where collapses may occur more often and with greater force. Technology is helping scientists monitor changes beneath the surface. Radar and ground scanning tools can detect shifting soil before a sinkhole forms. In some areas, engineers inject grout to stabilize fragile land, but these efforts are expensive and limited in scope. Most Floridians still live with uncertainty, never knowing if the next collapse will happen in their neighborhood. Would you dare to build your home on such shifting ground? Do you think enough is being done to protect residents living in Florida's most vulnerable regions? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for exploring the hidden corners of Florida with us. Click on the video you see on the screen to check out other hidden discoveries on our channel.